What's going on, everybody? I'm Derrick.
I'm Meesh.
And I'm the ravioli eating Doug.
Welcome to the Gaming and Chill episode number 90. Today on the show, we'll be discussing what's been going on lately, the Chris Hardwick and James Gunn disaster, the World of Warcraft BFA editions, and the Paul Walker documentary. But before all that, this episode is sponsored by Humble Bundle.
Thanks, guys. Our partner for this week's podcast is Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle is an online digital store that sells some of the most popular games from the most popular game developers. But that's not all. They also offer bundle deals that change weekly and monthly that allow you to pay a designated amount for a collection of games or ebooks that can often save you hundreds of dollars. Humble Bundle then donates portions of its proceeds to a featured charity. In addition to this awesome business model, they have also partnered with us so we get a small portion of any purchase or donation through their website. All you need to do is go to our website, scroll to the bottom of the page, and click the Humble Bundle partner logo and shop for any games of your heart's desire. Thanks, Humble Bundle. Back to you guys.
So what's been going on, guys?
Well, just more 3D printing, really.
Oh,
How's that going?
I was going to say, how's it going?
Pretty cool. Doug got to see the iris box that I made, and I also posted it on the Discord channel. It was a print-in-place thing, and then it took like 9 hours to print, but it's super cool. So that's one thing. And then I also started applying for a mortgage for a house that I can own instead of having to move every like 6 months.
How's that going?
Fun in moving in 6 months.
Well, it's going fine. I haven't gotten an update back from my guy on just the process of it, which normally it takes like 30 days, I think. But I'm hoping to hear back from him on Monday, because it's definitely been 30 days as of last Monday. Maybe it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday night, yeah. So hopefully that'll go through, and then I will have a place that I can call my own in Louisville, and possibly turn part of it into like office space for recording and stuff.
Do it, man. It's something I've been looking into. Like, okay, what kind of recording situation can I get myself into? Because the living room is not going to work forever. I'd like it not to work forever, actually.
Yeah, and I also got a lot of ice cream on Thursday, and so I've been enjoying that.
Why'd you get ice cream on Thursday?
Because sometimes you just need some ice cream in your life. Maybe it was Monday that I got it.
Never.
I mean, ice cream is involved in life. Well, like, what kind of ice cream?
So I did something that I thought I'd never do. I paid for very overpriced ice cream. I got some of those Magnum bars. They are the best ice cream I've ever had.
Huh.
So maybe it's just a homeless person in me, but like Walmart brand or like Kroger brand Rocky Road's pretty good too.
I like the single serving packs, because then I'm not sitting there with an entire quart of ice cream in front of me going, oh, I could have a little more.
As long as you're not also watching Gilmore Girls, you're probably fine.
Oh, no Gilmore Girls.
It's One Tree Hill.
Yeah, that's pretty little light.
It's Family Matters, but
I don't eat ice cream. I didn't before either, so it's just not my thing.
But yeah, I mean, the Magnum bars, if you're really wanting to treat yourself, forget about the Choco Tacos. Get a Magnum bar, and you will never live the same again.
I don't think I've ever had a Magnum bar. I'm gonna have to.
It's phenomenal. The ones I got were like had some type of caramel inside the two like layers of chocolate, and I have to say my life has changed. I will never be the same man.
This sounds like a diabetes-inducing calorie nightmare.
Listen, you don't have to worry about diabetes-inducing things if you're already at risk.
I mean, I guess. I'm just like...
I love chocolate. It makes me sleepy.
I'm just listening to it going, I can't even imagine trying to budget that in my intake.
I found a picture the other day. I eat bacon every day. It really helps me take my mind off the chest pains I have.
This sounds like something that would fit with a Dragon Ball Z abridged.
No, this is what Doug and I look at work. We just kind of look at each other just slightly, and either Doug looks at me or I look at Doug, and then we're just like, okay, let's waste 30 minutes now.
Yeah.
Like the other day, what did we argue about the other day?
Well, what were we?
How many
arguing?
hot dogs is in 300 meters?
Yes.
Why? Why were you arguing about that?
Well, the roll of filament I have for the 3D printer is 300 meters of filament. And I forget how, but we were like, what if we...
I asked...
the internet normal is like banana for scale. I think we were like, well, what if it was hot dogs? And then Doug was like, well, how many hot dogs could you print?
See, I think it got on there because I asked how many units is that, and like how many freedom units is that?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
It's like it's either bacon or hot dogs, but I feel like 1,000 hot dogs would be close, but it's really like 2,000 hot dogs.
You're forgetting the ever popular. What about Roman candles? That's a freedom unit too.
Yeah, but the freedom unit of a Roman candle is very widely varying.
Yeah, so either you will have a standard 6.5 inch hot dog or like a foot long.
6 inch.
I mean, it depends upon who you ask, but those are the two units. Like Roman candle, it can be like you said, there's just such a wide variety.
I mean, 50 BMG shells are pretty good too.
Fair enough.
About a quarter stick of dynamite.
Dynamite. That's another good one we could use. Or
See, that's a Chinese invention.
I mean, I'm sure almost everything is gunpowder is too, but I mean...
That's why you gotta measure in hot dogs. Freedom units.
Fair enough. I don't... Well, aren't hot dogs based upon sausages, which are German?
Hey, listen, I don't want to know how they got hot dogs.
See, we grind up this meat, and we shove it inside the intestines of the animal we just slaughtered. Which animal is that again? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so it's like I don't want to know how they make Spam. Or I don't want to know how they do other things that are good to eat, like Jell-O. I don't want to know the process of making Jell-O. I just want to make it shake a little bit and then suck it up with a straw.
Yes.
You gotta slosh it through your teeth and turn it into a liquid and go, this is exactly how spiders eat.
Yes.
You just gotta make it
The consistency of a good Jell-O should be about the same consistency as if you go to the beach and so you don't have your shirt on, slap your belly, and that's the consistency of a good Jell-O.
But only on the beach. You can't do this in your own house. You
I was
have to do
gonna
it on
ask,
the beach.
why do you have to go to the beach? Can't I just take off my shirt and go to the bathroom and watch? I mean...
No, it has to be on the beach because it's the sweatiness of the belly that counts too.
Mm-hmm.
Or just
a
go to the
A good piece of
backyard.
Jell-O has to have just that slight bit of moistness on its outside.
Yes.
God, I feel like we've learned so much. Doug, what have you been up to? Please tell me it's something other than talking about Jell-O.
No. This is the first time we've talked about Jell-O. So.
Fair enough.
I didn't really do anything.
Nice.
What did I do? Like, went to work. Like, I've been playing a little bit more Fortnite on my Switch. Like, I don't hate the game. Like, I know I've given it a lot of crap, but it's fairly fun.
Same here. And I'll talk about
Same
that
with
here in a moment.
Paladins on my Switch.
How is that?
It's free. You know what my favorite kind of game is?
I
free.
love, how is that? It's free. That's not... How good is it? Is it worth downloading it?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If you don't like it, remove it.
Yeah, but it's getting the free space on my Switch to do that. It's like...
Yeah, I have like 128 gigs on my Switch.
I don't think I have a big... I think I have a micro SD that big.
Yeah, it's great. Because it's just like, duh, download everything.
Nice.
I mean, it's fun. I've only played like a couple matches and you play against bots, but it plays like Overwatch, but has the character unlocking of like a MOBA. So imagine Dota or League of Legends, but Overwatch.
Huh.
Yeah, and I mean, I played a lot of that on the PC, probably about a year ago now, because I didn't want to spend money on Overwatch, and I also didn't have an Xbox at that time. So I played a ton of Paladins. Like I had easily an extra like 16 characters unlocked, and that takes some time, of course.
Oh yeah.
So it was very good as a placeholder for Overwatch, but I much prefer Overwatch than Paladins.
See, I think my problem is like if Overwatch came to the Switch, I think that Paladins might as well just never stop selling on the Switch because people who are buying Paladins on the Switch are people who've played Overwatch and are like, man, I really want to play Overwatch on my Switch.
What was the one game that went toe-to-toe with Overwatch and lost hard?
Battleborn.
Battleborn.
That was by the same people who did
Borderlands.
That was Gearbox.
Yeah. Nice.
But other than that, like, I've not been doing anything.
Nice. I've been playing Fortnite, and I said it on my stream, and I'll say it here. I've given it a lot of crap, and I've said, I don't know why I'd ever download it on my Switch. I downloaded it on my Switch because it started as wanting to get better for Extra Life, which is November 3rd, and I think we're all pretty much doing something for it, at some point or another, in some form or another. Yeah. So I was like, I really want to get better at it because I really want to play with our friend Tyler from Better Than Static. And I was like, hey, I want to get better at it so I don't bring his team down, and I really want to do something with him cross-community. And then you know how you're like, I don't like this game, but I'm going to get better at it so I have a reason to hate it or whatnot. It's like the entire reason I watched the Twilight movies. I was like, well, if I'm going to hate on it, I might as well watch it first, so that way I have a good reason to hate it. Then it's like, well, it's not the worst movies ever made. Thanks,
right,
Killing
Spanglish
3
is up there.
And I was like, okay. So I ended up playing Fortnite, and I was like, oh man, you know what? I play with my buddy, Nick, on Sunday nights. I'll play it some more, and ended up really, really liking it and being not the worst at it. So I'm like, you know, it's not a bad game. I can see the appeal, and I actually really do go for that appeal because it's quick games. Like, a game can be like 5 minutes, or it can be 10 minutes, but it's never like, here's 45 minutes, and you did nothing, you know?
I mean, it's kind of like this afternoon I was playing Destiny. I was doing some strikes, and I got, like, nothing. I got nothing but blue rewards and blue drops below my light level. I'm like, I dropped 2 hours doing some of these strikes, and I got nothing. I got no rewards for it, and it just kind of stung.
Yeah, I can dig it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I've been dealing with crazy work. They kind of haven't figured out that they really need to stop alienating people. So, a guy left our department, is moving, and they didn't tell any of the events committee members, who I am, that they were having a food day for him. They were going to bring in food. And it was like, okay, the leaders wanted to bring in food. That's awesome. But could you let the events committee know so that way they don't send out the email going, hey guys, there's food. And we're going, I'm sorry, what now? Did we miss something? Were we supposed to bring food? And it's like, okay, maybe it's just the leaders. Then somebody else, a free-thinking agent, goes, I brought pizza. And it's like, well, now the events committee looks useless. So I was like, stop doing that, guys. You got to actually trust us. Also, it's probably why I put into 2 job applications. I'm like, I think it's time to maybe see about outside sources. You know?
Yeah, that sucks. I'll be right back. Sorry to break the third wall here, but I just heard a huge thump upstairs, so I need to go check on that.
Okay, cool.
Fair enough. So I was like, okay. So I applied for 2 new jobs here at Churchill Downs.
Nice.
Yeah, the not technically a casino.
Yeah, the not a casino. Wink.
It's not a casino, guys. Wink.
It's like a pachinko parlor.
I say that. That's actually kind of a fun joke to my wife, who listens to this podcast. Hi.
Hey.
I was like, yeah, I applied to the casino. She's like, it's not a casino. Like, none of the marketing has ever used the word casino. And it's like, well, she's like, they have no tables, no nothing. I'm like, yeah, still a casino.
Wait, will there be machines, slot machines?
Yeah, there will be machines here.
But there's no tables.
No tables.
So it's pretty much just like penny machines.
So it's a casino without tables.
Yeah.
It's a gas station casino.
Yeah, so that.
But it's also Churchill Downs. So.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that like? I mean, it's not right by you, is it?
It's more closer to you.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, if I applied to be like a shift supervisor there for security.
I looked at that. I'm like, I'm not going back to security.
I was like, security was not the worst, and especially I was a contract, whereas this will be internal.
Yeah.
So I was like, and it's Churchill Downs. So I'm like, maybe they'll care.
Yeah, they won't.
Nobody died.
Okay, good.
Okay, sweet.
We just talked about Churchill Downs, not a casino.
Oh, I mean, you can talk about casino.
It's not a casino, though.
What's not? Well, why not?
they don't have any tables. We talked about this.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I go to a casino, I prefer to go to the roulette table. That's my favorite.
See, I don't go to casinos, but I like blackjack.
Well, the only time I've ever been to a casino is at on a cruise, and I always do pretty well at the roulette table.
You do well, meaning you guess really good.
Well, I do well, meaning I come back with more money than I had.
Okay, fair enough.
So I think you've told me the story about how you won, and your dad was like, "Yeah, give me my cut."
Well, so the story goes, I was 18 in international waters. There's no gambling. Well, there's gambling age of 18, basically. And so my dad was like, "This is a lesson I want to teach you. You go. Here's $20. I want you to go, and when you waste it, come back to me." And so I walked around the casino a little bit. There was little coin things you could do. There's slots machines, and there's also that roulette table. So I went to the roulette table, and then about 25 minutes later, I go back to my dad, and he goes, "Well, how'd you like losing money?" And I said, "Well, I think I like it pretty well." And I handed him back $125.
Nice.
So he didn't really teach me the lesson he wanted to, but he was like, "Don't think this happens every time."
International waters are basically like the purge.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh.
But yeah, I don't gamble unwisely. I always set aside a certain amount of money, and then if I lose it, that was the adrenaline that I got for that cash. I don't do it frivolously. I also haven't gone since I've been on a cruise, and that's been 3 years now. So
Nice.
I don't gamble, but let me tell you about the loot boxes I got. That's not true. I don't buy loot boxes. Anyway, are we ready to tackle the main topics?
I don't buy loot boxes either. I just buy, silver on Destiny.
Jeez. Okay. First up, we got the Chris Hardwick and James Gunn disaster. Yes. Both of which are going to be interesting. So, Chris Hardwick is actually returning to AMC's The Talking Dead. If you don't know what The Talking Dead is, it's the post-show for The Walking Dead, which no one watches. I say that I think this is going to be the last season of Walking Dead. They got rid of Rick Grimes.
They say that every year?
They actually got rid of Rick Grimes.
Okay, spoiler alert.
Oh no, that's been in the news. I'm not telling you any spoilers. Andrew Lincoln, the guy who plays Rick Grimes, isn't coming back. So they're kidding.
I haven't seen any news on it, but I also don't watch it, so I don't care.
I don't really care, so I never watched it.
I have tried to watch The Walking Dead, and at about 10 minutes into the first episode, I'm always asleep. I'm like, I'm gonna watch. But so Chris Hardwick is returning to The Talking Dead after the controversy where an ex-girlfriend had tongue-in-cheek accused him of mental abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse.
Is that mental?
I think you can say both. I think psychological is the better term than mental. Because mental is not a great term. So he is coming back after an investigation kind of came up and was like, yeah, we're not seeing it. Which I think this sets a precedence. Especially in Hollywood. So basically he was accused. They said, hey, we're going to have to, peace out. Goodbye, Chris Hardwick. And the internet at that time went, ha! I knew it. That guy was just a jerk, and we all knew it. It was only a matter of time. He's finally getting his dues, right?
Yeah, I remember when that news first broke.
Exactly. A Reddit thread. Everyone was like, and I'm quoting. Everyone was like, "I knew he was an ass. He was just hiding it, and he seemed like he was psycho. He was just he seemed skeevy." It's like, okay,
Yeah.
This piece comes out. Hey, we did an investigation, and there wasn't really anything there. And his ex-girlfriend, I think it was Dykstra.
Chloe Dykstra.
Chloe
yeah.
Dykstra. Okay, for some reason I couldn't remember her first name, but Chloe Dykstra. And said, well, I have evidence, and nothing ever came about.
Populated.
I think there was actually some rebuttal text that was like, I think he actually apologized for not being the greatest to her. And I think there was a lot of satire in there. Like, and some of the things of, like, she said that it could have been taken out of context. As he said it as a joke, and then came across as wrong when it was written without any sort of before and after context. Which context is king.
Yes.
So then the internet was like, and I think rightfully so on a level, was like, man, finally they're not just letting this tank his career for false allegations or unproven allegations. I think would be a better way of wording it, because the allegations may not be 100% false, but they have not been proven. And after an investigation. So he's getting his job back, but I think it's going to be a little bit before he comes back. So Yvette Brown is still doing Talking Dead.
Yes.
So
before we unpack anything else,
yes,
does anyone have any thoughts on that?
I just have one thing to say, kind of. I mean, in Hollywood, it's a different line of work, but it's higher profile. But like, they can actually come back to their work. Like in the future, this isn't going to prevent him from, because I mean, he's obviously already gotten his job back.
Right.
Other lines of work aren't that good. For instance, I'm a youth pastor. If for any reason anyone ever accused me of anything dealing with any type of the same thing or of a different connotation or anything like that, it would literally ruin my chance of getting any other job.
Well, you'd lose your job.
Well, yeah, and that on a resume and everything, even if it was found that it wasn't true, it would still completely ruin any chances that I would have.
I mean, I think, we all went to the same school. We all went to the seminary. There were some guys that were said, oh, hey, they, were getting a little, too busy with their girlfriends on campus, and they got kicked out of school. Just on that word alone. Not that, hey, someone else seen them and just like, oh, we thought that happened. And they were gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I remember a couple guys like that.
Which, I mean...
I think there's a morality clause in admissions, but I think...
It's one of those, like Meesh said, someone accuses you, you're pretty much done.
You lose your job, you lose your school, you basically lose credibility in an entire sector of the world.
Yeah, and I mean, this even happened with, like, the political realm, when one guy was like, oh, yes, I admit to this stuff, and I'm resigning. And then, like, 80 other guys were accused of it as well.
Yeah.
Do you think it has to do with the realm of business, or how much money?
It absolutely
I think it has to do with, number one, victims. Like, we're not making light of anything, being afraid to speak out, but also the fact that it is a hard thing to talk about, just in general sense. For instance, like when Johnny Depp was accused of domestic abuse, everyone wanted him to be fired from the point of being Grindelwald in the series of Fantastic Beasts. But you can't find anyone else to play that type of character. Like, he's the perfect typecast for that character.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, Johnny Depp is Johnny Depp in every production.
Right. And I mean, everyone probably has something that if someone knew about or someone told other people about, they'd be like, oh no, he shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Which I think that carries into the James Gunn, and then we can discuss it as a whole.
Right.
James Gunn in the past had made jokes that were out of taste.
Very dark.
They were very dark and had a little bit to do with, you could say, pedophilia.
Yeah.
It was 10 years ago.
And I don't want to make light of this, but let's recall 10 years ago, like, we were 18. We were just going into school. So this is like 10 years ago.
Right.
And I think that bears mention that people are not the same in 10 years. I mean...
10 years ago, I don't think, at the time, technically, Barack Obama had not been elected president. We were still under H. Bush? George W.
W.
W. Bush.
W.
So that was 10 years ago. And this recently came up, and Disney was like, all right, James Gunn, see ya. But the thing is James Gunn had already apologized for the tweets years ago. He was like, hey, someone had brought it up, and he's like, you know what? I'm sorry, it was different. I don't make light of that. I don't. That's not who I am. I'm sorry. And he had apologized for it, and Disney still hired him to be Guardians of the Galaxy. It comes up now, and he goes, yep, nope, not even going to deny that was me. Still sorry. And Disney was like, all right, see ya.
And I think sources were saying it's because of the whole Roseanne Barr incident.
That's actually what I was reading of. It was almost a retaliation thing. This one was someone who was they suspected it was people on the alt-right who were trying to dig up dirt on Hollywood people and get them fired. And it's like, congratulations, you succeeded. Now we might not have a good Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Thank you.
Well, and the other thing is that Disney still has a very large focus audience of kids. And so, with the nature of the tweets and whatever, even though he's apologized, like, Disney's had a lot of, like, public arena, I don't want to say, like, embarrassment in the past year, but that's what it's been. With the whole Logan Paul and Jake Paul thing. And then here with this one, even though it's resurfaced, like, it still becomes a hot topic anytime for instance, someone makes fun of the Holocaust. Like, that's not something you make fun of. But it's so far in the past that, like, I'm not trying to make a point that you can make fun of the Holocaust right now, no.
I think...
that's going the wrong way. But, like, Disney just has to be very careful with their relations, because they're doing a lot of things now that the company probably wouldn't have thought about 10 to 20 years ago. And so, in protecting Disney's vision, I think they needed to show solidarity with the people who had been offended by that, while also keeping their own butts under check.
But then, why do they still have Splash Mountain, and why do we still sing Zippity Doo Dah?
Because it's a tradition.
But tradition isn't always good.
That makes it kind of worse.
It's the same thing about getting rid of, like, the Confederate statues in southern states. Like, you can't erase history. You can just try not to be it.
And I think that's... I don't know. I think they could have handled this a little bit better by saying, okay, obviously we're going to do an internal investigation. Make sure that, he says he's joking. Make sure that he's joking. And just be like, okay, look, he apologized. We are going to apologize as a company because we knew full well when we hired him.
Because he made some dark movies before.
Oh, yeah. And we will take responsibility because we already hired him. We're not gonna fire him. But he's just not... He's not gonna be at any sort of, press event, red carpet event, where he will interface with the demographic that he was making jokes about. And just say, look, we understand that was 10 years ago. Let me, not reveal something, because that just sounds crazy when it comes to this context. But, like, recently, Meesh and Derrick, that I went through my Facebook and pretty much deleted everyone, just kind of did a little cultivating because it's social media.
Right.
And one of that was like going back through all my posts on social media ever since like 2006, getting an iPod Touch. Just like, wow, let me go back and like review everything. I'm like, wow, it not necessarily that it was like dark and awful, but it's like that is some like cringy stuff. Like
That's
that is
asinine content.
yeah, it's
Back when Facebook said Micah Burkhart is mowing the lawn or whatever, and you still had those posts, and it was no longer in the same format.
And then like vague booking. It's like, well, I guess you don't want to talk tonight, everybody. And it's like, all right, calm down, Hot Topic, calm down.
See,
And then so, I don't think that everyone started with the internet like in a different time. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna post whatever I want. I don't care. Like, I'm never like, especially with James Gunn, I'm making these like awful dark films. I'm just gonna make awful dark jokes because no one cares. I'm never gonna be popular. Whoops! I'm in the MCU directing Guardians of the Galaxy.
See, I think there's a difference between like making these sort of jokes, but then you said like Holocaust jokes. So I think there's a difference between gallows humor. There's a place for satire for dark humor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've told a couple of good, terrible jokes that have to do with that, and it's like, would I ever put that on Twitter? Probably not. That's not who I am.
Well, yeah,
I'm also not getting hired into the MCU.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of like British panel shows with like 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown and stuff like that, and some of the humor they have over there would make people here like sue each other by how outrageous they go with their humor, but it's hilarious.
Yeah,
and it's just one of those things like, okay, these are okay to talk about. That's not like the other day they had a German guy on a show and they made fun of him for losing the war, and then he made a joke about just other stuff around that, and it's also one of those things that like. Earlier today, I had to look up some information for one of our callers, and they wanted information on a lawyer in Texas. And so I told him the information. I told him he had pretty good reviews, and then this other dude gets on the line, and he goes, "Why are you lying to me right now?" And I was like, "I'm not. I'm literally looking at my screen." He's like, "Well, this dude was suspended from lawyering for 6 years." And I looked it up, and that was in 1991. That was the end of his suspension. I was like, that's over 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, it's right at 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's one of those things, like, if it's long enough in the past, it should just be forgotten.
There should be a statute of limitations on Twitter.
Yeah.
If after 10 years your jokes get resurfaced, let's just face it, it was literally a different decade.
I mean, let's go back and look at movies that were made. Not just from Disney, from, like, Song of the South, but let's talk about, like, Rob Schneider's, the one where he becomes a teenage girl.
Oh.
Who's the girl?
I forget. I really.
Or who's
forget.
the guy? Was it Amanda Bynes?
No, it was Rob Schneider.
I know what movie you're talking about. Oh, no. I was
Or,
gonna
like,
go...
Animal?
Yeah, it was basically Animal, but he turns into a teenage girl. Watching that's like, wow, you can't make those kind of jokes on TV.
Or Shallow Hal. Shallow Hal is a great example.
I think there's an even better example. White chicks.
Yeah, I mean...
Any of the scary movies.
I mean, there's like a whole early 2000s where you
don't even want to think about the early 2000s.
It was like a lawless land.
It was basically when Y2K failed, everyone was just like, well, there are no rules.
Pretty
much.
much.
It was like Rob Schneider and Adam Sandler picked up. James Gunn makes awful tweets.
Yeah, it's like it was literally a different decade ago. So I think it's interesting to take the two of them. They're huge people within their sectors. Like Chris Hardwick with the nerddom sector and James Gunn with
Nerdist.
MCU. Well, I don't think Chris Hardwick's with Nerdist anymore.
Yeah.
But here's the question. So if he comes back to work with AMC and everybody at Nerdist is going, yeah, I hated that guy. He was terrible. I don't have a hard time believing this. How would you like to be Chris Hardwick walking back into the office going, sup, heard you were talking about me?
And here's the thing. Like, yeah, he can go back to AMC. He's still, like... he still has to deal with that. Like, I'm not saying that he's paid his dues, but, like, here's the thing. People can hold the opinion they want. I can still sit here and think Chris Hardwick's just an absolute monster of a person. That's fine.
I think there's... I'm not really so much worried for Chris Hardwick.
Oh, no, absolutely not. He'll be just fine.
I'm worried more about the Me Too movement, honestly. Because this situation was tied into the Me Too movement. And then with him coming back to work, and they're like, yep, we don't really have any proof for this. What does that do for that movement of, you've seen everything taken as gospel with that, and then all of a sudden you have this one now, it's like, well, what do you do now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's some legitimate harm going to be done to this movement idea, because people go, remember that one time that it was proven not to be maybe entirely true? What does that say about the other 99 that just came before it that are? Now you're questioning
I think that has to do with... Yeah, you can make all these accusations. And you should. If something legitimately has happened, you should. Mm-hmm. I'm not here to dissuade anyone.
I will
but
also
remember, it has to go through court of law. Otherwise, it's just words. Something has to be done with it. There has to be a follow-through on it. Otherwise, you're just... It's not doing anything. It's not accomplishing anything. There legitimately has to be a due process. Yeah. And it has to be proven in a court of law. Like, this whole Chris Hardwick thing, it's not being able to be proved in the courts. So, it has to be proven in order to... And work has to be done. You just can't go, oh, this happened, #MeToo. That's not doing anything. That's starting the process, but then you have to finish the process. Finish the fight.
Yeah, I'll agree. And I will verbally say, I also agree that if something has happened, you should report it. Don't hide it. Like, talk about it. Bring it into the light. Darkness can't live where light has been shed. I 100%, I'm like, I read some of these articles and I'm like, man, like, it's a dark time in the media sector. I mean, I think there's a dark humor joke that I've said of, like, man, if it keeps up, pretty soon I'll be directing Guardians of the Galaxy. Because everybody in Hollywood's just... It's not great in Hollywood. It's like, this guy done this person done this person done this. Who are we going to get hired to the new MCU movie? He hasn't done anything, right? I mean, let's hire him. It's not great. But it's not great. But it is because it's bringing people who have hurt other people to justice.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway.
Final thoughts on this.
I am interested to see in the future what happens if there's going to be an MCU clear out of everything, because if you also remember, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was a hardcore drug addict. Are they, granted he's not playing Iron Man for very much longer, but are they going to say, oh, sheesh, y'all, maybe we don't deal with you? We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that the past has happened. I'm sure he formally apologized. There was attempted reconciliation, and I think that should be kind of the bar of, is this guy really sorry, and is there anything since then? Because that's how you tell if someone's still addicted to drugs. Is he still doing it? Then he's still addicted. Is he not doing it anymore? Then that was true of his heart.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Okay, let's move on from that, and let's talk about something way more nerdy, such as World of Warcraft. The new Battle for Azeroth. BFA? BFA, yep. Battle for Azeroth. Woof.
I'm really surprised you had to ask about that.
Well, I was making sure, because I said BFA, and I was like, that's Battle for Azeroth, but, First and foremost, it's coming out in August, I believe.
14th.
14th. Are you going... Is anybody going to be picking it up and playing it?
I want to.
That's a negative.
I'm considering it. I love MMOs. I am nearly done with Final Fantasy XIV, the content that's out now. So I'm thinking about maybe seeing what World of Warcraft can do.
Yeah, I never had enough money to really get into World of Warcraft before, and I didn't have the time either. And so now I'm not exactly desiring to get into it yet. I played like Gates of Anderon or whatever. It was a free clone that you could download, but it ran like crap on my computer. But it really wasn't like something that I would have enjoyed doing longer.
Okay.
So I just don't really like that game style either. Like I loved RuneScape, but with RuneScape, it's much different than anything like World of Warcraft was.
Did you get
I also
armor
stopped
trimming?
playing RuneScape. What?
Did you get the armor trimming?
I did not, because I also wasn't a member. But Twitch has a thing out on membership, free membership for Twitch Prime subscribers, so I might get back into it.
Oh boy, here I go again. So let's talk about what is going to be coming into the game, then we'll talk about pre-release. Does that sound good to you, Doug? Because I know you're a Warcraft lore person.
See, I like the lore, I like the books, but my computer, like, every time I mention, like, yeah, World of Warcraft's coming out, like, the computer I'm running on is just like, no.
Your computer in the background is going, no!
I can literally see it reaching for a rope and a stool.
No, it's getting ready to pull its own power cord.
Okay.
I mean, I open up 2 Chrome tabs. Like, earlier I shared a link for the Billy Joel We Didn't Start the Fire.
Yeah.
And so I already had my notes open. I opened up Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire. The computer, like, slowed to a stop.
It audibly
The internal
groaned.
clock went back by about 2 minutes. Like, it just froze for, like, 2 minutes. It was great.
Wow. Okay. So then I guess you're not going to be reading it, and I will. It shows off some of the new races you can get. Do you happen to know those races off the top of your head, Doug?
Let's see. They are the Allied races, and they are the
Okay.
Deep Mountain Dwarves, Zandalari Trolls, Highborn Tauren, High Elves, I forget the other 2.
In defense, I also cannot prove anything you just said. Because I actually don't entirely know. Okay. Void Elves, Lightforged Draenei, Nightborn, and High Mountain Tauren for the Horde, and more.
Sweet, I can't wait to play more.
I know, right? And then there's also a new 120 level cap. And some more class changes.
Yes.
So you can once again save the world of Warcraft. That was not
I'm not gonna lie.
That was not my joke.
Yeah, still my favorite thing of World of Warcraft, like, media, is the South Park. Make Warcraft.
Make love, not Warcraft.
Yes. I'm like, what is the title of that one? Great episode.
It really was. So here's the pre-order bonuses. So if you get the World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth Standard Edition,
Like a chump?
I know, you can get immediate access to recruit 4 new Legion allied races from World of Warcraft's Legion expansion. You can unlock the ability to create characters from one of the races by completing the quest and earning reputation. You can unlock sub-races, which does include the Void Elves, Lightforged Draenei, Nightborn, and High Mountain Tauren for Horde, with more, and immediately unlock the level cap. If you get the Deluxe Edition,
Like a champ.
I know, you get the Seabraid Stallion for Alliance and Gilded Ravasaur mounts for the Horde. You get the Toddle, a baby Tortolin pet. Azeroth is Burning card back for Hearthstone. Horde and Alliance themed in-game sprays for StarCraft 2. Voice lines for Torborn. And emotes for Tracer, Adudin, Sylvanas, Jaina, and Varrock Surfang sprays. Kulturius and Zandalar player icons in Overwatch. And you also get a Primal Flame Saber mount with 3 variants. It's also unlocked for Heroes of the Storm, but isn't available yet.
See, I'm a huge Troll fan. I would be playing on Horde.
If you also get the Battle for Azeroth Collector's Edition, you get a hardcover, double-sided book, Elegy and Good War. Elegy.
It's Elegy.
I know, I said it, and I was like, oh, God, no.
He could feel the prejudice coming down.
You get the Horde and Alliance double-sided Mark of Allegiance.
Allegiance.
I know, I did that one on purpose.
And the digital key.
And a digital key for the Collector's Edition digital soundtrack. So, I was sitting there going, I wonder if we could collect our money for the Collector's Edition. I'll get the game. Doug can have the books. Meesh can have the Overwatch stuff. I'll take Heroes of the Storm and StarCraft, since I have both those.
I'll take the coin as well.
I was like,
because then I can cast it again in other materials.
And 3D print it. Do you have a 3D scanner?
Not yet. But
well, get on it! No.
How did I know that was coming up? So you're thinking about buying a 3D scanner?
Thinking about it. It would be very useful, but I just don't know yet.
It'd be very expensive.
I need to save up for my down payment for my mortgage, so...
Wait, theoretically, quick question.
Yeah.
Could you not... Oh, wait, because you do have insurance. Could you not...
Oh, God, I don't like where this is going.
I like how you cleared insurance first, and then...
No, go to the doctor's office. And if it's non-metal, get an MRI, because those are in 3D.
I mean...
Wow, it got silent.
So magnetic resonance imaging doesn't quite work the same way a 3D scanning works? Like, I'd need to do, like, an ultrasound or something like that.
Just go...
I need a 3D print of my intestines, please.
I think I'm pregnant.
Can I 3D print this tumor that's been growing on me?
It looks like God.
You know, okay,
your belly.
Copyrighted trademark, put in stone now. I'm going to create a service that will 3D print a tumor if you have one. That way you can see a physical representation of what's killing you on the inside.
Wow, you can 3D print depression?
Actually, yes. It's called a failed sunshot print. Actually, 3D printers are depression machines, man. They're nothing but disappointment.
It takes your men... Wow, nice. It's nothing but disappointment. I've heard that about that. I've heard that before.
I've heard that about me.
That's my middle name. Anyways, back to what I want the coin to.
Okay, fair enough. We can get the collector's edition pre-order for $99.
At GameStop too.
I know, right? The best place to get it.
Hey, to be fair, I do have my pre-order of Forsaken at GameStop.
Forsaken?
Destiny 2.
Oh, right. You can also pre-order at Target. So
I'm honestly considering canceling that pre-order and just pre-ordering on Xbox.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna pre-order at GameStop just because I already have like 40 or 53,000 points through them, and it'd basically be free.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you've bought 4 consoles in the past year.
Nice.
Let's see, Xbox, Switch, Game Boy?
Another Xbox and another Switch.
Nice.
Wait, you bought 2 Switches?
Yeah, one for my brother.
Oh, fair enough. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm thinking about playing it. I've got World of Warcraft downloaded. I think I might play it and
So does Sam.
screw around and play it. And I'm like looking at it, going. Sometimes I looked at it, the graphics. I was like, the graphics really aren't that amazing anymore.
Hold up though, we could get it at Walmart for $99.96.
Oh my God, let's go to let's go to Walmart.
That's the rollback right there.
I don't think I've been to Walmart in like a year and a half.
I walked into Walmart the other day and I immediately walked back out. I was just like, no, I am not doing this.
I'm gonna go to Walmart. No, I'm not. I'm just gonna go to Target. That's down the street.
The last time I went to Walmart, I bought pants.
If I could get my measurements, I would absolutely just order pants online.
Me too.
I would never go physical shopping, ever.
See, that's one of the subscription boxes I've considered. I've considered getting like a clothing box that they'd send me, because I'd never buy the clothes that they would
Amazon
send me, but I would look slightly better.
Amazon does it now. It's
okay,
like
I don't
Amazon
need to know that having an Amazon card.
Amazon wardrobe, where you basically
Amazon
Amazon wardrobe. you basically select a couple items, and then they all put it into a box, and whatever you don't want, you send, and the rest of it they charge you for. And I'm like, oh my god, that's so amazing.
Here's what you do. Go tell someone you're getting fitted for a tux, and that way you can get your exact measurements, and then you go to Amazon.
True. It's not a bad idea. Or just go to a... Do we have... Is there tailors anymore? I feel like at one point you said
Yeah,
tailors.
Macy's has them, and then if you are a member of when I had to get a suit tailored, one of my guys at the church I work at was like, hey, I have a friend, and so she tailored it for free.
See, I don't know
Use
that...
your connections, man.
I don't know that I'd be like, hey, to anybody at work, hey, do you want to measure... Would you, measure my clothing?
Inseam?
Would you like to measure how long my legs are? I'm sorry, what now?
I'm sure that I'm more than that. Whatever you just measured. Are you sure that measuring tape isn't shrunk?
Are you using metric?
That's a big number.
Could you use the metric on this one, please? Not the waistline. Don't use the metric on the waistline.
That's what I'm saying. That's a big number. That's like 800.
Actually,
That's like 13 hot. That's like 13 hot dogs.
See, I'm thinking about getting World of Warcraft. I'm thinking about it.
See, I just want to collect all the books and read all the books.
That's what I was like. You get all the book stuff. You get all the wordy words.
Sam doesn't get anything.
You get in a house.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. He doesn't need that.
Just get him a giant poster, put it in a frame, and go, here you go, buddy, here's a poster. Where am I going to hang this?
It's not
your
even
problem.
of the World of Warcraft.
That sounds like your problem.
Can we order him like a Boss Baby or emoji movie poster?
B movie.
So you like
No,
jazz.
B movie is at least redeemable.
For the memes. Or an Amy Schumer movie.
Oh no, we can't do that. He has a wife.
Ooh, true. Let's get him a Thanksgiving 3 poster.
Did you watch Thanksgiving 3 recently?
No. It's just always on my mind. Much like the Paul Walker documentary.
Wow. You know what the last thing on Paul Walker's mind was? I mean, obviously besides the dashboard.
That's my favorite skydiving joke. Last thing to go through a skydiver's mind when he can't pull his parachute is his shoes.
Talk about gallows humor. Oh, guys. We're no longer eligible to be MCU directors.
Oh, crap. There we go.
There went my chance.
I'm pretty sure I was marked ineligible easily 4 years ago.
Yeah.
When I chose my degree path.
Yeah. Hence my racehorse wasted degree.
Anyway, Paul Walker documentary. Doug, I know you're a huge Fast and Furious person.
I mean, I'll watch it.
I know me and Meesh have different opinions than you do.
I don't think it's wholly necessary, but I'll watch it. Like, Paul Walker's cool.
I don't think it's necessary. I will probably skip this. I was watching the trailer and everybody was like, yeah, no, he was a great guy. No one was like, well, he struggled with this. He struggled with anything. It was like, no, he always made everybody smile. He was a great person. He always knew he was going places. He was going different directions. He wanted to do so much with his life. It's like...
At the end there, he is going a few more than just one.
And it's like... Okay. So, I mean, it's an hour long... It's an hour and a half long video.
I can only think of...
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I can only think of Sacha Baron Cohen doing an interview. Now we're going to do an interview with Paul Walker's killer, and it's just a video of a tree in the woods.
But I'm like, I don't see the confliction. Like, I'm like, it's cool to have a documentary about him, like, I guess, but why? We were talking about this before the podcast. I would rather have a documentary about the Jackass crew get them all together and talk about, like, what made them each join Jackass or start it, like, after, then talk about how Ryan Dunn affected their life, because I know a lot of them, they struggled with drugs, and a lot of them got clean, and a couple of them was like, you know what, show business isn't for me. I know Wee Man went to go do a skate company, a couple of them went to do film and modeling, somehow, which gives me hope for my modeling career. I know that Johnny Knoxville directs and still does videos and films.
Well, Johnny Knoxville, I almost said Johnny Depp again. He was on the Hot Ones or whatever, the show where they interview him while eating spicy wings. And that was actually a really good episode. Like, he talked about all of his experience and everything. And so, like, I was like, I want more of this kind of interview. He also did something, I forget with who it was, but he did like a 15-minute long interview.
I think it was Variety did one on him talking about all of his injuries, and he detailed
all of them.
Yeah.
And a good episode of the Hot Ones is Guy Fieri, actually.
No. Anyway.
Yeah. Dude, have you watched it?
No.
It's great. Like, Guy Fieri is an actual person. He's not just.
But yeah, I see your point. Like,
tips.
Paul Walker is a cool guy.
Thanks for cutting off the Guy Fieri talk. We don't need the memes. But, like, Paul Walker, I'm just like, there's nothing there other than an hour and a half of everybody going, no, he was great, we loved him. Is there going to be anybody going, did he suffer from depression, anxiety? I mean, what makes this compelling to watch if you're not a Paul Walker fan? If you're a Paul Walker fan, you're going to go watch it. Or if you were a Paul Walker fan, you're going to watch it. Just, if you're not like me, I've seen him in one Fast and Furious movie. That was it. And that was Tokyo Drift. So I'm like, I don't see the appeal of a Paul Walker movie. That's like saying we're going to have a Vin Diesel documentary. It's like,
well, it's like every other documentary about a very specific single person. Like, I mean, I wouldn't go out and see a documentary about a single person unless it was like Robin Williams. Like that I'd go see, but that's like the only one I'd go watch.
Because I'm documentary.
Really, any documentary that's focused on a single person, unless it's like someone who's changed the world forever, like it's not going to have a ton of interest. Now, Paul Walker is kind of that topic of conversation because he like died doing what people saw him doing in the TV.
He did it. He tried it at home.
I did see a documentary about a single person, and that was Jiro Dreams of Sushi. So, we'll leave that there.
I mean, here's the thing. I think this isn't, like, I don't think it's going to be like a 2-hour long documentary.
It's made for like film festivals.
Yeah. It's like, okay, here's Paul Walker. Here's footage that you never got to see of him as a kid, where you could really see him, like, he's just like a larval form. I'm like, how do I say this without sounding weird? Like a larval form of like the fully adult
Paul Walker Larvasaurus.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know. I think it'd be really cool to have like, even because we got a few like YouTube videos of like Vin Diesel and all them talking about Paul Walker right after he passed, and I think it'd be really cool to have this, you know, kind of condensed into one place where you can see that, if that makes sense. As opposed to, like, let me go click on 30 different varying quality interviews and just, you know, have them talk about even some of the drama that's been happening with the Fast and Furious family. Because there is drama, let me tell you. If you're not on Twitter and Instagram, let me tell you.
Well, time for us to wrap up this show.
Well, and it was on Paramount Network, and it's not like a huge movie. It's just like a part of a series. So they're going to look into, the documentary series is called I Am. It's an inside look of the lives of extraordinary individuals as told by the people who knew them best. So it's not going to be like an hour and a half movie that you go to the theaters for. It's probably going to be like an hour long, like 60 minutes type thing on who Paul Walker was. Like ESPN does a 60-minute thing. And the last one I saw of them was on the Challenger disaster. And so I think that I mean, it'll be good for what it is. I'm glad it's not necessarily going to be in the theaters, because I think that would have been a bad move to do. But it being just on the Paramount network, I think it's going to reach a lot more people than it would if it was in theaters.
And I agree with you.
Yeah.
Here's another cool thing. And an interesting thing, then we can wrap up. I think in this day and age, we've had enough archive footage and reviews and stories about these monsters in Hollywood. I think it'll be good to start seeing, documentaries of, like, this dude was a good guy. He did what he loved. He lived what he was wanting to do. He was completely happy. He didn't struggle with, like, shooting heroin into his eye socket. He was just like, he was a dude, he liked going fast, and, it caught up with him. But he was an upstanding citizen. Kind of like the Mr. Rogers documentary that came out.
Good save.
Right? I'm having struggles speaking today. But just, like, hearing more about the heroes in life rather than, like,
The monsters.
we talked about Chris Hardwick and James Gunn and Johnny Depp, all them. It's like, we don't need to hear any more about the monsters under the bed. We need to hear about, people
The fathers coming in to defeat those monsters.
Yeah, right.
Just to finish that illusion.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's go with it.
Yeah.
That's a good way to end it. I like it. Anything else, gentlemen?
I think that's about it for me.
I think that's it.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today on this lovely episode of Gaming and Chill Podcast. We hope that you liked it, and if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and like and subscribe. I'm not being funny. It really helps with our metrics and everything. If you're on YouTube, to subscribe and like it, and then if you're on SoundCloud, whatever, share it with your friends. We really, really appreciate it when you share it, and we have people to talk about it. That's awesome to us. So, until next week, have a good one.
See ya.
If you see a tree, swerve.
Thanks, guys. And thank you to all of our listeners out there, because we really couldn't do it without you. We hope you enjoyed this week's Gaming and Chill podcast. If you'd like to know more about the podcast, follow us on social media, or learn how to support the podcast directly, check us out at www.gamingandchillpodcast.com. Also, be sure to stay up to date with Gaming and Chill by following us on Twitter at gaming_in_chill. Yes, that is gaming_in as in Nancy _chill. You can also find links to the articles, games, and videos mentioned in this podcast in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and until next time.